Here goes. He has the do pass and 4 suspends that he's presenting on.
Okay. Good morning. We're calling to order the Assembly Appropriations Committee hearing on August 19th to order. We're starting off as a subcommittee, and we'll call the roll as soon as we have a quorum. First up will be Senator Bell. Senator Bell, you have nine bills, 1 due pass, 7 suspense, 1 consent. We are asking folks to stick to the fiscal issues. If you're presenting on suspense bills, we're going to ask you to have one person. You can 1 person for 3 minutes, or 3 people for 1 minute apiece. So we're going to move this along. All right. How would you like to proceed?
I'm going to waive presentations on SB 490 and 513. SB 513, so waive presentations. To help facilitate the meeting, I'm going to combine presentations on the mental health training for peace officers. That's SB 11 and 29. I'm going to do those together. And then we have another combo presentation to save time also. SB 319 and 44 will be the over-medication of foster youth. We'll combine them. And if it's your pleasure, if it's okay with you, that's what I'll do. So that will make it more efficient for you.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay, I'm going to present, pleasure of the committee, SB 9, if that's a pleasure.
Please proceed.
Mr. Chairman and members, SB 9 simply provides a multi-year planning and allocation process under the Transit and Intercity Rail Capital Program administered by the California Transportation Agency. The process is parallel and is utilized by the federal government and common for a variety of other transportation programs. The projects will be likely granted funding under this program require a multi-year effort and a level of financial certainty for the transit operators to plan, and that's why we're presenting this bill. As the committee analysis states, this bill has a minor absorbable cost to implement. Bipartisan support, I urge and I vote. We have witnesses.
Witnesses in support.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. My name is Kurt Evans, and I'm with the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority, and we're supporting SB 9. This bill incorporates into the Transit and Intercity Rail Capital Program a number of concepts that have been successfully used for other federal and state transportation funding programs. This bill will open the door for a wider variety of transit capital projects to compete for cap-and-trade dollars under this program, and thus put the state in a better position to maximize the total amount of reductions in greenhouse gas emissions that could be realized. Respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other witnesses in support? Individuals from the public in support? Witnesses in opposition? Any individuals from the public in opposition? Department of Finance?
Matt Alme, Department of Finance. Based on the July 16th version of this bill, we have an opposed position because it's unnecessary. Current guidelines already allow a single transit project to receive up to 33% annually available from program funds. Nothing in the program's current statutory construct prohibits a transit agency that has received an award from spending those funds over multiple years. The bill enables the transportation agency to make funding commitments to public transit projects over multiple fiscal years.
Thank you so much. Questions or comments from the committee members? Seeing none, would you like to close, Mr. Bell?
Yes, this would allow multi-year funding. It's an enabling bill, so it doesn't really change the cost of anything. It allows multi-year funding. I'd like to point out that multi-year funding is used in many projects across the country to fund larger projects, and it's interesting that the Finance Department's opposing this when it's exactly what's used for the high-speed rail project. I urge an aye vote.
Thank you so much. When we have a quorum, we'll definitely make a proper motion and second and move the bill.
Thank you.
Please proceed on your
Mr. Chairman, I'd like at this time, if it's allowable, to present SB 11 and 29. This is mental health training for peace officers.
Thank you. Please
We have
continue.
some witnesses. We're going to present these two bills together because they're kind of co-joined in minds of a lot of people. So SB 11 and 29 respond to growing public concerns about mandating additional behavioral health training that has proven to reduce volatile confrontations between police officers and people with mental illness or an intellectual disability. The bills take a very deliberate, targeted approach to phase in much-needed behavioral health training in a cost-effective manner that has minimal impact on agencies and resources and the state general fund. Focusing on new officers, going through mandated training is the easiest, most cost-effective way to train our officers. The bills also make headways for training existing officers by mandating a modest 3 hours of continuing education and focusing on field training officers, supervising and utilizing and molding our officers' behaviors. We took amendments in the Public Safety Committee, and it's also important to note that post-training is funded by use of special funds and not general funds. And I'd just like to point out that action taken in the budget is expected to generate $9.9 million for the Peace Officers Training Fund through implementation of debt amnesty program. A portion of these one-time funds could be used to offset these costs. And I request and I vote. We have witnesses for this. And 3 basic witnesses.
So these are on both bills? They're witnesses?
Combined.
Okay. Please continue.
We have witnesses.
Good morning, Assembly members. I'm Catherine Decker, mother of fallen San Jose police officer Michael Johnson. On March 24th, 2015, my son was killed in the line of duty by a mentally ill man who was suicidal. I'm here today to express my strong support for SB 11 and SB 29. The bill mandates more mental health training for officers so they can recognize when a person is in a mental health crisis and respond appropriately and safely. Part of crisis intervention training is to teach officers to recognize the signs of mental illness, de-escalate the situation, and when possible, refer people in need to mental health resources. I've been a strong supporter for mental health training before my son's death. As a nurse, I worked in many settings, including the jails, emergency rooms. I have witnessed people in mental health crisis firsthand. Nurses are provided many hours of mental health training to help keep us safe. Why can't the police officers have the same? Encounters with people with mental health illness is an everyday occurrence for the officers. We should be providing officers with the training they need to stay safe and come home. The cost to pay for the bill pales in comparison to the loss of lives both for officers and those suffering from a mental illness and their family members. I urge you to vote for these bills and help save lives. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we continue to the next witness, Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Gomez.
Here.
Bigelow. Bloom. Bonta. Calderon. Chang. Daly. Eggman. Gallagher. Garcia. Holden. Jones. Quirk.
Here.
Rendon. Wagner. Weber. Wood.
Quorum has been established. These two bills are on suspense. Please move SB 9.
I'd like to move SB 9. Oh, sorry. I'd like to move SB 9.
We have a motion for SB 9 and a second. This bill is out on an A roll call. Thank you so much. Next witness, please.
My name is Pat Dwyer. My background includes about 35 years in law enforcement here in California. I've been the chief of police in 3 Bay Area cities. And more recently, I spent 5 years as the law enforcement liaison for the Santa Clara Mental Health Department, which was a big change. I'm here to support SB 11 and 29, and I'll tell you why in a nutshell, just some simple facts. The State Department of Health Care Services says there's over 2 million seriously mentally ill people in California. Fact one. Fact two, not controversial at all, at least 10% of all police 911 calls involve a person who's mentally ill. Surprising statistic that a lot of people probably don't know is about half of the officer-involved shootings in California involve somebody who's mentally ill. Here's the most surprising fact. The current minimum standard in California police academies for mental health training, LD 37 or Learning Domain 37, is less than 6 hours. So you got 10% of a cop's workload, half of the officer-involved shootings in California, and less than 6 hours of dedicated mental health training in the academy. And that's just not right. These laws are going to help correct this deficiency by reallocating existing training hours. And I just want to mention what we anticipate will be the impacts of these laws really quickly. The obvious impacts are better trained cops and better resolutions, better outcomes for people who are mentally ill. But there's some huge financial savings, too. The first involves reductions in death and injuries. San Jose experienced a 32% reduction in workers' comp claims or workers' comp costs for the police department after mental health training. City of Memphis says over a 3-year period, a 7-fold decrease in workers' comp. The second thing is the diversion of people with serious mental illness out of the justice system and into the health system where they belong with all those attendant savings. It's a lot cheaper to have somebody in outpatient services than it is to spend close to $200 a day in a jail. And the third, very importantly, is a reduction in civil judgments. The FAM case cost San Jose almost $2 million. The Pennant case just in L.A. just cost the Highway Patrol about $1.5 million. Huge lawsuits are pending all over the state of California involving police use of force and officer-involved shootings and mentally ill people. You're probably all familiar with the Kelly Thomas case in Fullerton, which is pending now in civil court. And just this week in California, or in San Jose, I should say, my home, the Diane Showman case was filed, and that was for a shooting that took place last year. In conclusion, I'd just like to make one quick statement. To anybody who thinks we can't afford to train police officers, I would say, look around the country. We can't afford not to.
Thank you so much. Next witness. And then after that, we're going to briefly, 1 minute apiece for the last two.
Good morning. My name is Dennis Burns. I'm the police chief for the city of Palo Alto. Thank you for the opportunity to come before you today and voice support for SB 11 and SB 29. I want to thank Senator Bell and the co-authors for the thoughtful crafting of this legislation. Due to deinstitutionalization, AB 109 and Prop 47, our officers are encountering more and more individuals with mental health issues. Interactions with individuals experiencing mental health crisis pose the potential for miscommunication and violence. The increase in mental health calls for service and the potential for violent confrontation underscores the need for enhanced contemporary mental health training for all law enforcement officers. Goals for this legislation include that law enforcement will attempt to de-escalate mental health interventions to best serve the customers and all stakeholders, ensuring everyone's safety. In CIT, officers are taught to consider that no action or passively monitoring a situation
30 seconds
may be the most reasonable response to a mental health crisis. CIT has proven to be a great risk management strategy that is consistent with the ideals of community policing that will help build public trust and legitimacy through a more effective and efficient delivery of police services. CIT also reduces the stigma of mental illness that many individuals and their families face by ensuring that the dignity of all involved. Coupled with ongoing in-service training, our newest officers will be better trained and prepared to deliver the enhanced services to one of our most vulnerable populations. Thank you for allowing me to address you today.
Thank you so much. Next witness.
John Lovell, on behalf of the Association for Los Angeles Deputy Sheriffs, the California Association of Code Enforcement Officers, California College and University Police Chiefs Association, California Narcotic Officers Association, California Police Chiefs Association, Los Angeles Police Protective League, and Riverside Sheriffs Association, all in support, all in alphabetical order.
Pretty good for this early morning.
Thank you so much. Witnesses or individuals from the audience in support, just your name, organization, and position, please.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Tom Renfrey. I'm with the County Behavioral Health Directors Association of California, strongly in support of SB 11 and 29. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next witness.
I'm Brendan Tartaglia with Disability Rights California in support of both bills. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Chair, members, Khalif Osagai on behalf of NAMI California as well as the California Public Defenders Association in strong support of both bills.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. Bless Shepard representing the California Division of the American Association for Marriage and Family Therapy in support.
Thank you so much. Any other individuals from the public in support? Witnesses in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition? Department of Finance.
We have an opposed position on this bill because it would result in a reimbursable state mandate. This is SB 11. Potential costs could be more than $7 million general fund for the initial continuing professional training and almost $2 million general fund ongoing as officers take the course every 4 years. In terms of SB 29, we also have an opposed position because it would create a reimbursable state mandate. Initial costs of $2.5 million general fund and $600,000 general fund ongoing. Costs to the post would be up to $1.7 million from the Peace Officers Training Fund for course development.
Thank you so much. Questions or comments from the committee members? Mr. Bigelow.
Thank you, Mr. Bill. Actually, I like your bill a great deal. There's a lot of good to this and a lot of good that will come from this added training. Being someone who's an EMT and takes a great deal of training, and then every 2 years you have to go back through all the training to recognize a lot of different signs and symptoms, especially when we walk into situations where we're unarmed, going in just to help somebody and stumble into situations that are very difficult, especially when you walk into a room and the friend says, this patient says, "Hi, Frank, I think I just shot somebody." Yeah, that doesn't make you feel really good. But I did notice inside your bill that this particular training, you have to live within the 664-hour element. And I'm wondering, if we do the extra 9 hours of training, will we be shorting ourselves on some other important element of training? Would it be best to just add this 9 hours in addition to the 664 hours?
I'll just make a quick comment. 664 hours is the minimum for a California Basic Academy. Most of them run about 1,000 hours.
I got that.
And I think that anybody in this room could go over a 1,000-hour curriculum and come up with 9 hours that might be better used in mental health training. That's why Senator Bell is reallocating existing hours. Right. And my understanding, having talked to friends of mine that work at Post, is they're already looking for the hours. This process is something that Post is interested in. Again, friends that I've talked to at Post think that they can come up with the hours. I mean, maybe an hour less marching, or something like that.
Well, again, like I said, I'm supportive of it. I just don't want this to short our officers in the field of valuable training.
I don't think any essential learning domains will be affected.
Okay,
I know that Post will not let that happen.
That's the answer I want to get on the record, because I don't want them,
Post will not let that
to be put in a compromised situation with lesser training.
Thank you so much. Mr. Quirk.
Yes, with regard to Mr. Bigelow's question, when this bill came before us in Public Safety Committee, we did talk to Post, and they seemed quite comfortable being able to accommodate the bill, or the bill's mandate.
Thank you so much, Mr. Quirk. Any other questions or comments from the committee members? First, thank you so much for coming in and testifying. We're definitely sorry for your loss and your son's sacrifice. I represent unincorporated East Los Angeles, and I did a ride-along for almost 8 hours, 10 hours with them during one of the weeks I was home my first 2 years, and they said I was the first elected in unincorporated East LA to do that kind of ride-along. Maybe that's why they gave me a bulletproof vest for the entire ride-along. But it's a valuable experience that I had, because I see a lot of the interactions are not about anybody breaking a law or committing a crime. It's a matter of keeping the peace and often resolving disputes, everything from somebody ran into somebody's side view mirror to domestic disturbance issues. But it's interesting that the police officers do come into contact with the public in so many different ways over a period of 24 hours. So greatly appreciate your son's sacrifice, and we know that he did a tremendous job. So thank you so much for coming. Mr. Bell, would you like to close on these two bills?
Yeah, thank you. And we're continuing to work with committees to reduce costs, and I appreciate your consideration of referring this to the floor on its policy merits. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Bell, on your last two bills, both on suspense.
We have SB 12. I'll start with that one, if it's your pleasure.
Yes, please continue.
That's quick. SB 12 relates to foster youth. In 2010, I offered a bill, AB 12, in the Assembly, which extended foster youth benefits from 18 to age 21. Youth who are forced to leave the foster care system at age 18, of course, face serious challenges, high rates of homelessness, incarceration, low rates of graduation. Now, currently, there's some foster youth who cross over into the juvenile justice system, and for some reason, they're not receiving their benefits when they exit juvenile hall or camp. So this bill deals with that issue. The intent of AB 12 was originally to include these foster youth. But these children, however, slip between the cracks of the child welfare system and the delinquency system. Based on estimations from the organization, we believe the total impact population will be about 45 youth annually. The numbers may include youth that stay in secure confinement beyond age 21, which is the time they age out under the current law for foster care benefits. There may be other ineligibility factors for some of the foster youth as well, because to get the benefits from 1821, there's certain eligibility factors that they have to maintain. We can estimate that 70% of them will opt to re-enter the foster care program once they leave the juvenile system. And then we estimate that shelters, like if these youth are in shelters, it's about 40 in all the services they get, young people in the shelters when they're 18, we're talking like $40,000 a year per person. So we estimate that this bill will have, in that way, a negative fiscal impact if it's not instituted. We think it'll be over close to $2 million for the 45 youth. The bill was stimulated by an incident in San Diego where one brother got into the foster care system, and he went to college. He went to UC Berkeley. The other brother was caught in this trap, and he ended up homeless. And so because he was in the juvenile justice system, he ended up to be homeless because they took away his foster care benefits while he was in the juvenile justice system. So we need to clean that up, and this is what this bill does, Mr. Chairman. It will save money in the long run. We have witnesses for this bill.
Thank you. 1 minute apiece. I'll give you a warning at 30 seconds.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Tisha Ortiz. I am 22 years old, a student at Cal State East Bay, and an intern at the National Center for Youth Law. I entered into the foster care system with a lot of problems from the abuse I experienced: sexual, physical, and emotional trauma. When I came out of the system, I wasn't prepared for the real world and found myself homeless within the first few months of being 18. I ended up being homeless off and on until just recently, where I was able to find a program called First Place for Youth that helped me get my own apartment.
30 seconds.
They were able to get my furniture for my first place and a stipend. If it weren't for First Place helping foster kids with their employment, education, and housing goals, I would not be attending college or pursuing my goal of being a future lawyer. I would still be paying $500 out of my student financial aid for a Motel 6, staying at friends' houses, couch surfing, or living in shelters. The cost of not funding SB 12 is that we would get probation youth who are unable to pursue their education or work goals and would end up back in the judicial system. Helping probation youth with extended services costs less than putting them back in jails and prisons. It will ultimately help the vulnerable population from being homeless and unemployed. It will help youth become productive members of society by giving that backbone of stability. Please support SB 12.
Thank you so much. Next witness.
Hello, my name is Catherine McCullough. I'm testifying on behalf of the Youth Law Center, co-sponsors of this bill. As the senator said, research has shown that foster youth who are forced to leave the foster care system at age 18 face extreme challenges, and these challenges lead to dire outcomes such as high rates of incarceration and homelessness. Foster youth who cross over to the delinquency system face even more challenges and even higher rates of incarceration and homelessness. That is why this bill is so important. It focuses on a very specific and small population of foster youth who are the most vulnerable youth. So we please vote, ask for your aye vote today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This bill is on suspense, and we'll take it up in due time. Any other witnesses in support? Individuals from the public in support, just your name, organization, and position, please.
My name is Rochelle Trottenberg. I'm a former foster youth, and I strongly support this bill.
Thank you so much.
Anna Johnson, National Center for Youth Law, in strong support.
Thank you so much.
Rebecca Gonzalez, National Association of Social Workers, California Chapter, in support.
Thank you.
John Lovell, California College and University Police Chiefs Association, California Narcotic Officers Association. Strong support, smart public safety.
Thank you. Any witnesses in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition? Department of Finance.
We're opposed to this bill because it expands the After 18 foster program and likely increases general fund cost in the range of $5.1 million to $6.8 million in 15-16 and $10.2 million to $13.6 million annually thereafter.
Thank you so much. Questions or comments from the committee members? Seeing none, Senator Bell, would you like to close?
Yeah, just in response to the Department of Corrections, you review bills on terms of the impact, and Assemblymember Quirk's committee as well, public safety, the impact on prison population. If this bill doesn't pass, there's going to be people slipping through the cracks, invariably be in jails and in prison. I urge and I vote. It will cost us money not to do this bill.
Thank you so much. We will take this bill up in due time when we take up the suspense file. Thank you.